Ooh, excuse me. Hello, 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 hello. Here we are in this fantastic old school aircraft. If you've heard me talking before, you will know that I absolutely love the classics, classic airliners like the HS125. This, the Hawker-Siddeley Trident 3, 707 300, the Boeing 747-200. Not going to the the 737, the old schools. Not going to that yet. I've not found a decent freeware model or reasonably priced old school model that does what I would like it to do, but I'm quite happy with the ones I've got at the moment. So we'll just stay in cinematic view for a few minutes. We are live on VATSIM. We're just south of Frankfurt at the moment, cruising at flight level 390, and we are inbound to Innsbruck, Lima Oscar Whiskey India. Notoriously exciting approach and landing into this particular airfield, where you've got the mountains well above you on either side. You're doing tight turns in the valleys. It's a very peculiar approach where you effectively do a localizer approach sort of in the direction of the runway, overfly the airfield, track out a bit further to the Rattenberg NDB, do a 180 turn and then come in on the same localizer approach, still descending down into the valley, and then you break off that localizer approach before you get to the airfield. Remember, we're going in the opposite direction to landing here, and then you hug the left hand side of the valley and overfly the famous church. When you overfly the famous church, you do a hard 180 degree right turn, so you can then land on runway 08, and that's exactly what we'll be doing today in this. Bearing in mind we do not have RNAV, so I can't just put it into the flight computer, hit LNAV, hit VNAV, turn the autopilot on, and it just happens. That is not an option here, so we will be flying a lot of this by hand in an aircraft that is not flight stabilized like you do in the Airbus, for example. So it's going to be quite a high pilot workload here. Guaranteed I will not get everything right, but I am going to do my darndest. I've not flown a classic into Innsbruck before. I've only ever flown the Airbus 320 series and the 19 I think I've flown in as well, using RNAV, but also doing, taking the autopilot out early. But having the auto trim on the Airbus and the fly-by-wire is just absolute godsend on this particular airfield. And the auto throttle as well, it makes your life a lot easier. This does have auto throttle, but the auto throttle is not coupled directly to the altitude, so you can't have VNAV and auto throttle in at the same time, so we probably won't be using a lot of that. It depends, we'll see how it goes, see which one I'm struggling with more as to which we do. It is Cat 3 ILS approved, but as I've explained, and you've probably guessed by now, Innsbruck is not a Cat 3 airport. There is no ILS into this airfield. So just taking another few seconds to have a look at the screenshots in cinematic view here, and then we'll flick into the cockpit. Now I'll pre-warn you that some of the textures in the cockpit for some reason today have not loaded, as you can see, so it looks a little bit rubbish. Flight engineers panel, I'm not able to do any of that at the moment, which is quite annoying, because that's one of the things I love about the classics, are all the buttons and switches that you have to do, and you have to do correctly in the correct order at the right time. Otherwise the thing will start doing stuff you're not expecting it to do. So here we are then, as I say, cruising at flight level 390. The autopilot is in holding us on the route that we've got keyed in to the flight sim flight plan. So we're not doing a VOR routing on this. I was actually supposed to be doing some other stuff in cruise, but like always happens, yeah, I ended up sitting watching the pretty plane. We don't have auto throttle in at the moment, so the only autopilot we've got in is the LNAV effectively and the altitude lock. So we are going to start approaching our top of descent any moment. So I'm going to start getting that set up. We'll have a look at the charts, and we want to be descending down to flight level 115. However, what's the transition? Because I've got a feeling the transition is pretty darn high here. Let's have a look. It's predominantly only RNAV charts you can find, which is not really much use for me. And transition. Come on, where is it? I'm not used to these charts. Transition level by ATC. Right, okay, that's not helpful. We don't have any ATC on today. So, here's the autopilot panel. We're going to bring us down to... not that way. Flight level 115. And then we'll put ourselves in glide mode. In fact, no, I can't do glide mode, can I? No, because that's not correctly labelled. So I'll put us into VS mode. Okay, so acquire. I can do, here we go. Descent mode is engaged. We can see that our speed will start increasing, so we will pull our throttles back. There we are. So let's have a look at these charts then, shall we? So on the VAT Austria website, gosh, words, we can see the only initial approach are RNAVs, so we're not using those, so we're doing a non-standard approach here, but then we'll be dropping into the instrument approach. So we come in from our final fix, which is LMAM, as you can see here, at flight level 115 on a course track of 101. We then intersect the localizer, Oscar Echo Juliet, here on a course of 166. We then over the airfields here, if you can't quite see it, we overfly the airfield all the way out to the Rattenberg NDB. When we hit there, we track on a little bit further, do a full 180 turn, more than a 180 turn, re-intersect the Rattenberg NDB. When we do that, we flick back onto the same localizer we were on before on a course of that's not right, is it? 064 plus 180, so 144, 244, come on, maths. In we come until we hit the RUM NDB, as you can see here. And when we do that, that's our cue to start thinking about landing. I believe actually at that point, that's our minimum, there or thereabouts anyway. Minimums are very high, very, very high indeed. 5,000 feet, I think it is off the top of my head. You then hug, we come onto the approach chart here. So is the RUM VOR on this chart? No, it's not, so we're going off DME. So at 6.5 miles DME from Oscar Echo Juliet, we then brake left, 3,700 feet, so not unusual numbers here. Hug, 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 and this is our visual cue here. Church of Exams, which is the start of our base turn. It's a standard right turn, and then that should, in theory, bring us out perfectly lined up on runway 08. So I'm going to flick that over onto the screen. Alrighty then. So reasonably high pilot workload here. I will flick off LNAV, so I'm cheating. I put the flight plan into FSX and it's following it on the GPS. Obviously, IRL back in the day, we did not have a GPS on this aircraft. So we're now inbound Momlook, as you can see there, which is our final waypoint. And from there we will fly a track of 101. So let's key that in there. That's 120, that's 110, that's 10. It's about there. Excuse me. Until we then intersect the Oscar Echo Juliet VOR. I should probably figure out what that's actually called. On a course of 066, and that's on 109.7, which I've got pre-keyed in there. And we want to be down at flight level 115 by then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase our rate of descent. Start thinking about flicking the seatbelt signs on. And that's actually all we need to do at this moment in time. Auto throttle's off, good. Plonk that onto my other screen just so I can see more of the clouds. Now I have changed. We're no longer on Rex Essentials. I'm pretty sure that's what was causing me all my hassle yesterday and has caused me so much hassle in the past when it injects the weather and it just takes ages to set up. It really is just nowhere near as user-friendly as it should be for a piece of software, in my opinion. So I took the hit. I downloaded Active Sky 16, currently 30% off as well on their store. Got it through Sim Market, I think it was, but any number of stores you get the same discount. Oh gosh, you load it and it automatically starts injecting real world weather as is. That's all you need to do. Just double click the icon on your desktop. Rex, you have to go through all sorts of loading procedures and oh, what a faff. It automatically then picks up if you've got a flight plan keyed into FSX, so it can download you more accurate weather for your route. It gives you straight away on your front screen your METARs. I know Rex can do that, but when you've keyed in a flight plan, you activate that flight plan, you're on that weather radar screen. You can no longer go and get your METARs. Whereas it's on the front page here, albeit not for the one I want, which is quite amusing. Can I? It'll be on here somewhere. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Oh, here we go. Conditions. LOWI. And there we are. We've got a METAR here. We've got more information. Ah, see, it's just... That's how software should be. Dead easy to use, intuitive, and just does what it does. So the winds are variable 2 knots. Ceiling and visibility is okay. Gosh, lots and lots of clouds. This could be exciting. Yeah, becoming 270 at 8 knots. Cool, blimey, right, okay. So this is going to be fun. It's the worst that can happen. Right, we're approaching Momlook now. We're high, for want of a better word. So I'm going to bring our speed down a bit more, increase our rate of descent a bit more. I'll use SimBrief's top of descent, but SimBrief doesn't have the Trident, so I keyed in the MD11, which is wrongly thought was probably as close as I was going to get. I wish they'd have the ability to put in your own aircraft in SimBrief. You can key in your own aircraft with respect to the airframes already on there, but you can't key in your own airframe, which is a bit annoying if you fly the classics and stuff, because it's a cracking tool. SimBrief is absolutely superb tool, but you would have thought just that one little addition. You can do it in oh gosh, what's the planner called? It's gone. Plan G, that's it. You can do it in Plan G, but I mean it's not quite as intuitive to use again. So from Mumluck we're going to fly on. Okay, so we need to flick over then to heading hold, so we can do that and click there. At that point we can come out of our cheaty GPS mode and go to nav. I'm not entirely sure why that... Oh, no, sorry, it didn't change, did it? Donkey. So here we are then, tracking towards a heading of 101. And we've just had a traffic spawn at Innsbruck on the ground. So I'm going to pre-key in my message there, ready to hit send, to inform him that we'll be on final, and I'll be calling final pretty much when we get overhead Innsbruck on, you know, going that way from west to east. Not entirely sure when you should call final for this, but clearly you don't want an aircraft taking off on, well, for example, 2-6 if you've already overflown the airfield and you're doing this procedure, because he's either going to go into the back of you or you're going to meet him when you go head on, and that's not ideal. If he was going off 08, if he was going off 2-6, I guess it would be less of a problem because he would come straight out the valley this way. So that's not a problem, but given the wind as it is and the fact that we have no control, let's make it crystal clear. Oh, go away. There we go. So we don't need to do our before landing checks just yet. Still waiting for that ND VOR to come in. We've got it keyed in, haven't we? 109.7. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Currently tracking 102 degrees, so let's just click that one left. We got a minimums keyed in already, 5,000 feet, as per the charts. Ah, FAF, right. FAF is at Kudav. Okay, right, so that's when we turn on to the localizer for the first time. That is our final approach fix. Oh, hey up, no, we've done something wrong here. Medics was not our final final point. Okay, not a drama. What I'm going to do is bring us due south. We can get back on track. That's not too much of a disaster there. We should still be able to intersect that. We'll just be coming in at a harder turn. So did I misread this? L-man. Yeah, yeah, I did. Ta-da! So So LMEM's here. So if we swing it right round to actually, let's just overshoot slightly. So a heading of 210, that should bring us around about LMEM. I realise I'm pointing that out, not on the right screen, which is that point there. And then that's when we come in. So that's what I'm going to aim for. So we have come off track a reasonably significant distance, but it shouldn't be a disaster. Not as big a disaster as these textures. Come on. Sort your life out. What's going on here? Still got a gig of VAS. Well, let's hope that loads in, otherwise it could make it a little bit less pretty and a bit more interesting. Why? I was expecting that VOR to have kicked in by now. So what I'm going to do is make sure if everything is actually keyed in. I'm going to listen in on nav 1. Close that. And we're looking for dash 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 dot dot dash dash dash. Da 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 da, something like that. I don't want to flick that into that yet. Okay, in fact, no, I can flick it into there because okay. I'm not convinced we're going to pick up this VOI, you know. So I'm just going to quickly check and make sure. It's not that one I want. That VOR is actually in FSX. Excuse me again. No, it's not. Right, okay. So, improvise, adapt, overcome. Well, the NDB should have picked up 320, which we've got keyed in there. Why is that not picked up here? We'll start our left turn. Alright, we might have to fly this fully visual. Hey, hey. I don't know why the ADF's not kicked in. It says ADF active. So let's bring the height down a little more. Before we stall. How's it doing that? Come on. Oh gosh, I tell you what, you really know when you've not got your auto throttles and so on and so forth. Why is it trying to climb? Ah, right, the stall warner kicked out the autopilot, that's why. My bad. Nothing to see here. Right, about there, so let's swing it around to 101. hope these textures load. This is a good way to ruin a nice flight, isn't it? Wonder if I can force it. You watch this crash now. Come on. So while it's doing that, then we are just coming over these mountains here into Kudav, which of course the aircraft has no knowledge of, only moi. And then it looks like we're going to have to fly it pretty much the old-fashioned way, but without any radio navigation. That won't help. Right, so this is looking promising that we might actually get some textures loading. That'd be nice. Anytime today, sweetheart. Come on. Got this. I'm just keeping an eye on the chart, just trying to absorb as much of this as possible. So we come in on 066 degrees, then we backtrack out on 064, then on passing the Rattenberg, doesn't actually give us a time, but I'm going to go visually really until we hit the valley. So it's like a little oh, what do they call it? I forget the name. A re-entrant, that's it. Is it re-entrant? Up on the right hand side, it's at that point we swing a 180, well more than that, 210 degree left turn at 9,500 feet. To then intersect and overfly the Rattenberg NDB, and then we are visual more or less from there onwards. Ooh, here we go. No, spoke too soon. Come on, there's no sea traffic. There's no air. Well, I don't think there's any air traffic. Yay, here we go. Oh, we have textures. Yippee-ki-yay. Right, so... Oh, wow, this is fun. So we're going to be dropping straight over the top of here. Normally we would actually be going down the valley, but because I mucked up the approach, we do have enough height. As long as I just reduce that descent rate a bit. There we are. We got blippity blip blip. Well, that's good news. That's very good news. Right, okay. 50's normal, okay, good. Turn it left, see if I can bring us onto the VOR. There's Innsbruck there. So we're going to be going out, turning left, round, hugging the mountains. The church is down here somewhere, we will see it. And then swinging out pull in a right, oh church is down here, sorry, and do a right turn and then land in there, so a bit of a wibbly wobbly. Oh, I say we would be going down the valley. No, we wouldn't, not according to the charts. I was looking at the FSX map. So we'll be calling final any moment now. Because we are more or less over our final approach fix. So, there we go. Final is called. Local QNH. We should be on that, I reckon, by now. And there we've just overshot slightly the VOR. Wonder why it wasn't shown on the FSX map. That's strange. Now I've got 2 traffics have just taken off according to that spy. That's less than ideal. There's quite a bit of traffic on the ground. I don't have TCAS in this, so rip them. Oh well. Right, worry about that in a minute. So I am just going to flick us into heading mode just to try and kill some of this oscillation. We can turn that to 604 and then we'll flick to a back course once we've overflown the airfield. Acknowledge the flight level 100 so we can lights on and retracted, extended. There's the middle marker we've just overflown, so we are right on top of it. Where is he? Is that not the aim? Where's Innsbruck? Oh, there it is. Ah, yeah, right, so we're well over it. Good, that's what I slightly hoped. So 064, let's go on back course hold. No, it's not going to do it, is it? Right, that's a load of tosh. Oh, he says. Must be directly above the VOR now because it's cut out. So we'll wait for that to come back in. In the meantime, I'm going to drop flat 1. ADF2 is fired up now. ADF2 was 303, which is the Rattenberg ADF. So as a reminder, so we've just overflown the VOR here, the Rattenberg NDB is here, so we're going to fly out past that, and then when the ADF dies, we know we're above it, so we'll track a bit further on over these mountains and swing a left. Just watching that speed doesn't get too low. Is that VOR going to kick back in yet? There it is. allow us to do back course. I don't think it will. Okay, well we can do it manually. So we know we're on the VOR, so I can get rid of the Morse tone. Looking good. We got the slats out just to help us a bit. We are nose up a bit because we're slow. I'm not going to let it nav hold itself because it's just so oscillatory, it's ridiculous. And there we go, that's close enough for me. ADF is still pointing towards Rattenberg, so that's fine, happy with that. Give us a tad more throttle. There we go. Oh, we are actually low. Never mind. Clearly didn't key in 9,500 very well. So we're down at 9,000. Now, it doesn't look like that's going to be too much of an issue here, but not ideal. So much work there, there's so much to look at and to do that you don't give all your instruments your undivided attention. You just can't, and this sort of proves the whole need for you know, a co-pilot and for the Gucci instruments we have now. So we see the ADF swinging round on our left here. I think this is the re-entrant I was on about. It looks a little bit different on here than it does on the charts, but that's definitely a re-entrant of some description. Oh, hello. Oh, look at that! Thought it was me vaping. Wow, didn't used to see that with Rex. Well, that's just made it a whole lot more exciting. Good, thank God we're out the other side of that. Yeah, this is the re-entrant, so that's where I want to be starting my turn. There's about 30 seconds, which is sort of not far off what my guess was. So we're going to go left all the way around to 216 degrees. Go, just doing that in stages to make sure we don't suddenly start turning the wrong way. And at this point I can select a height of 5,000 feet, flick us into acquire mode and engage glide, or engage descent mode should I say. It's not glide mode, that's not modelled. And in doing this, we should be able to come and intersect the OEJ VOR again on a back course of 064, or just swing it round to a forward course of 244 by adding 180 degrees. Well, that EasyJet has departed. He's gone straight out on 2.6. He's long gone now. He didn't announce anything on VatSpy. Sorry, on VPilot, which is annoying. Mr. Ryan Keenan. Easy 82904. We've actually turned tighter than the VOR. Was not expecting that. So let's just bring it round to the right. We're still we've still not reached the Rattenberg NDB, so we do have time on our hands. Just going to increase the rate of descent. And bring our speed back. So the mountains are now well above us. This is where it starts getting a bit fruity, and you've got to watch out the window. It's no good relying on your instruments. Don't have a ground proximity warning system, GPWS. Terrain radar, anything like that, so I have to be very, very careful here. There we are, overhead Rattenberg now. VOR's clearly not in the right place, is it? No, it's not. That VOR's a bit broken. Why is that not changing? Right, okie dokie. There we are, 5,000 feet. We've hit that nice and early. You can see the mountains there, well above us. Tell you what, that's going to be one hell of view for the passengers, isn't it? One hell of view. Got to find an excuse to come to a conference here. Right, just because it's going to bug me, I am going to key that into 244. You can just see that that's not right anyway. So we're following the river down anyway according to the charts, so let's keep doing that. So you can see we call final ages and ages ago. So no other aircraft can depart or even enter the approach at this point because of the nature of it. I suppose they could follow on behind me, but pass. I don't know what their actual procedures are here for the air traffic side of things. I've not done it. But I would have thought, because you're both going on the same VOR, I mean, I suppose you're separated by a few thousand feet. What's 5, 6, 7, 8, so 4,000 feet. No, it was 9,000 I was supposed to be at, so I was right. Then, yeah. Right, let's take another stage of flap. And then we need to overfly this plateau so we can swing it back around onto 244 degrees. So we may have been slightly right actually. Not too bad so far. It's not my best flying, I've got to admit. But given the type of aircraft, we're not hit anything yet. Is it rendered yet? Can we see Innsbruck? We can. That. Oh, hello. There's the runways down here somewhere. So we're going to be overflying over up here. The church is up on this hill somewhere when it renders, and then doing a 180 to land. There's the runway there, look. So we start thinking about our checklists here. QNH is checked, decision height is checked, threshold speed. Do a final calculation, that is checked. Don't want my gear down just yet. And we're overhead the VOR. So we're now on to the visual chart. So we've just overflown the VOR here. So coming in, and then at 6.5 miles from this VOR behind us, or I could key in the DME actually here, 4.2 from there, we're going to turn left onto heading of 230 degrees, drop down to 3,700 feet. So what was that, 111.1, let's do it, why not? 111.1, 9.8 miles, and we're looking for 6.2. Slowly bring us down, easy does it, down to 3,700. Visual with the runway. So we will be landing. We can proceed below our minimums. I'm more or less aiming for the airfield at this point, so let's just swing it right. Throttle back a tiny bit. Our latest QNH is D. 1017 has gone up. So 3.8, nearly there. 4.2 we're looking. Oh, sorry, 4.2 we were looking for, so we've missed it. Oh, 230 degrees. Coming in very low over here, look, very low indeed. And then we go over to 264, overhead this. Gosh, this is low. We're going to take another flat and we're going to take gear down. So full flat and gear down. Swinging it right now to 264 degrees. 4, 5, 6, 4. Gotta have a look at this. Oh man. Wowzers, look at that. Oi oi oi. I'll keep it on the autopilot as long as I can get away with. I'm looking for the church. There it is. Wow, we're low. Too low. Forgot to hit the altitude capture, the acquire and lock. So we are a couple 100 feet low here. There's the church with the pointy top. So there we're going to bring it round, in fact, and I will take the autopilot out at that point. So flight director can come off, autopilot can come off. Right, go in manual. For the right hand turn, standard rate turn is about there, a bit more. I won't start descending yet because we are low. There's a tendency to drop its nose in a turn, as most aircraft do. God, I'll tell you what, the passengers are getting a right good amount of bang for the buck here. Let's just check the landing checklist. Speed brakes are in. My bad. Not liking how quickly that's coming towards us. Not liking that at all. Whoa, a bit of aerobatics there. So that's not a standard rate turn, clearly. Not in this aircraft. We might be able to regain it. If not, we'll overfly and do a missed approach. We might get away with this. I probably wasn't far enough over left over that church, which wouldn't have helped either, combined with the performance of this aircraft. God, what bad timing. Go away. There we are. And nice gentle flare. Bit of a float, so we're a touch fast. Wow, this thing does not stop. That's full brakes, full spoiler, full reverse. Well, it's on stream now. No hiding it, Simon. No hiding it. Oh, not that one. That one. Well, there you go. Oh, they're going to need to send the engineers out and repair some of those runway lights, I tell you, hey? Let's do them a favour, there's a bit of a gap I can get through there in the lights. In the turning circle. Oh, wasn't that a disaster? Probably should have gone around when I realised that turn was too tight. Didn't give me enough. Oh, we had a bit of a tail as well. Just didn't give me enough time to get my height and my speed right, because I was coming in fast. And being a classic, it comes in fast anyway, but it was fast for it. Beautiful scenery though. This is, I think it's the Aerosoft Innsbruck. Very nice. So, flick the anti-collision lights off now, and flick the landing lights off as well. Find a gate. These are all static aircraft, actually. I've just realised I forgot to turn static aircraft off. So that's what confused me a bit when we overflew. So your damper can come off, autopilot's all good, that's fine, don't need to worry about that anymore. Can't get in there. Right, well gate 3 it is. Taxi lights off. And the nose wheel's quite far behind the cockpit on the Trident. There it is. Hello, Mr. Marshaller. I don't know if he's actually going to tell us to stop. I don't know if that's even modelled. Do we risk it? I would expect to stop sometime soon. Yeah, right, well, I'm going to stop. Screw you, mate. Okay. Parking brake can come on. And I can't put external power on because the engineer's panel's not rendered. Oh, loving the steps. Nice. And there we are, down at Innsbruck. Unparked. Clearly not the best approach. Wow, all over the place. Need much more practice on that. Absolutely not the best landing. Should have gone around. Need to read up a bit more on the go around procedures because your minimums are so high. If you're committed to landing but you're not lined up, wow. Obviously it could have come in on 0.8 with the wind as it was. When I chose it, the wind was absolutely fine for coming in on 2.6, as we explained. But that's the challenge, you know. What's the point in coming into such a challenging airport if you're going to do the easy approach? So there we are. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be doing the return flight very shortly. I'm just going to have a bit of time, grab a quick shower, bite to eat, and then, yeah, we'll be back for the return flight. Wow, landing rate 52 feet a minute. Absolute greaser. Yeah. Not that that's anything to show off about, you don't want to do that, as I've explained many times before, but there we have it. Flughafen Innsbruck. See you all in probably about 45 minutes. Bye-bye. Didn't mean to do that.
into orbit on the dark side of the planet. So come on, we'll get round here. Okay, here we go. So EVA Burberry out of this little command prompt to demonstrate a few things. We'll turn on our jetpack here. Now, one of the little exploits here, which they've now turned off, I don't actually know if it was an exploit. I'm kind of sad that this has now been removed, actually. It used to be that what you could do is you could set a maneuver node with your Kerbal when he was out EVAing, but we now can't do that. The control lock message comes up and we don't have the ability to do it anymore. Along with this, there is another line in the changelog here saying that they've fixed the issue with being able to add maneuver nodes to vessels without control. So I guess there's a few new restrictions here, and it seems like we now need to have the appropriate requirements before we can add a maneuver node. Another little enhancement, and I think I understand this correctly, what it says is change the mid-clipping chain on the main camera so it doesn't clip when zoomed in as much. And if you recall, quite often you'd be sort of zoomed in and all of the objects would be really clipping, you'd be seeing sort of inside them. You have to get in real close now, it's super close to have that clipping occur. You have to actually have the camera inside the pencil, whereas before, you know, if you were this close, as an example, you'd sometimes see a lot of clipping. I think that's what this means, so that's just a bit of a game camera enhancement. There is a bunch of other stuff in the changelog as well that I haven't really been able to test, or I haven't understood exactly what it means. So one says there, reduce the stutter when flying fast and low over a planet. Now I thought that was referring to maybe the garbage collection issue that I was having quite frequently. Basically, when you launch a vessel, you sort of see the footage just stop. The game would just sort of pause for a second, garbage collection would occur, and then it would keep going. It was happening quite frequently. I haven't seen any reduction in that regard. It still seems to be pretty bad. Quite often when I'm recording footage, I'll actually cut a lot of that stuttering out. I'm not sure if you can actually spot where the footage is pausing while I'm actually flying this vessel again, but you'll sort of see every now and again the game will hang. It tends to be worse when you've got higher part counts, but you just sort of see it kind of hang. You sort of a little stop there. If anyone from the squad happens to be watching this, it's one of those things that causes, especially the YouTubers, a lot of frustration, because whenever the footage pauses like that, you've essentially got to either leave it in there or you need to then try to cut it out later. Now that can be really difficult and time consuming, so anything that can be done about that sort of garbage collection problem with larger vessels, yeah, that would be much appreciated if that gets addressed at some point, if it can be addressed. I don't know if it's a Unity issue in particular or just something nice coded Kerbal Space program. I don't know. Now another interesting localization issue has been addressed here. Essentially the line in the changelog says that they've fixed the profanity filter for Kerbal names in Russian. There was quite a bit of discussion about this on the forum after the release of the update. I suspect what was actually happening here was that random Kerbals were generated in the astronaut complex here, and sometimes they would end up with, let's say, non-family friendly names for those Russians out there. Of course, I'm sure that is not going to stop any Russians out there from naming the Kerbals whatever the heck they like using the debug menu. without breaking all of the mods that I've got installed, or the compatibility I should say for the mods that I've got installed? And the short answer is maybe. I actually had the game crash when I first rebooted it. I'm not sure which mod was causing the crash. I would say it's probably safe to expect that some mods are not going to behave quite so nicely with the new update until they themselves are updated. I was, however, just able to grab the current release of Kerbal Engineer, drag that across into the updated install, and that worked quite fine. So yes, I guess it depends which mod you've got installed. Interested to know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment in the description if you have isolated a mod that is behaving, well, unfriendly with the 1.3.1 update. So that's about all of consequence that I could see from the release notes. If I've missed things, please let everyone know in the comments. There's probably plenty of other smaller fixes here that I haven't mentioned. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions for me, do whack them down in the comments below. If this video has earned your subscription, welcome to the channel, and for my existing subscribers, thanks for being so awesome. In the tile today, in the bottom left, we have my kiloton to Kerbin orbit mission. In the top right is my latest video, and in the bottom right, a video that YouTube has selected from my channel just for you. I spun a robot. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Hello, it's Scott Miley here, and today I would like to look at a mod for Kerbal Space Program called Better Than Starting Man. Why is it called Better Than Starting Man? Well, you start career mode without any manned capsules. This is a mod which is designed to revamp career mode, redesign it so that the progression of technology is a little more realistic, which means you don't start out by putting a Kerbal into a capsule and going for altitude records. You start using very simple automatic probes. So the only option initially for contracts is set an altitude record of 12,500 meters. And the only gear you've got to do this is the Steputnik probe, which of course has a single attached node below it. You have this Kestis rocket, which is of course it's a play on the Estes rockets, right? So this is a solid rocket motor. You cannot even right-click on this and tweak the amount of fuel on it. It comes straight from the manufacturer, and the manufacturer would have a fit if you decided to open it up and, say, perhaps remove the fuel from it. Now, to collect science, you still have to do it the old way, but unlike the old way, you can't just have your antenna sticking out the side, because massless parts for this science gear, no, they've decided, the developers of the mod have said, no, we don't believe in massless parts. So you have to try and line these things up here. And what I usually do is use symmetry to try and make sure it's on the middle. And yeah, try to match that up. Similarly, get as close to the middle as possible. And hopefully that'll work. Okay, so that's me put a thermometer, a transmitter, and this on it. And our whole goal is to get above 12,500 meters, so let's launch. Now, in normal Kerbal Space Program, of course, what you're doing right away is you're immediately wanting to log temperature. Oh, temperature scan from Kerbin's surface. 0 science. Yes. Yeah, that's not going to work. No, you got to get up into the air. Moreover, you've got to get up above 12,500 meters. See, if you log temperature, no, your altitude is too low to collect useful data. So let's get above 12,500. And of course I have absolutely no control. This does not have any reaction wheels in it. This spacecraft doesn't have any throttling or any thrust vectoring, so this thing just more or less goes straight. Now let's collect the temperature data. It seems to be getting colder as the altitude increases. Great, transmit the data, and we'll just time accelerate. So you don't have parachutes either, which means this thing is just going to fly a ballistic arc to about almost 30,000 meters. That's pretty impressive, actually. And then it will fall back towards the surface, basically being pulled inexorably down by gravity until it meets its fate. The atmosphere will perhaps slow its descent a little, but once it gets high enough, that atmosphere will actually turn out to be deadly, because this mod of course works with deadly re-entry. And bang! Yes, your early missions are going to end with a bang, since there's no way to land them. So let's go to the Space Center and see what's happened. Well, first thing is, we've now been able to unlock the next node, which gives us basic rocketry. This gives us the Pot 1 battery, which does not contain a potato. We have some more solid rocket boosters, which can only attach radially, and we now have the Press Mat barometer. So yeah, we've got that. The next set of nodes kind of starts to differentiate a little. The only option available to me is to set an altitude record of 30,000 meters, and so I've got to figure out how to make this go above 30,000 meters. Well, one way would be to just take off all this stuff and let it fly straight. The other way is to use these radial mounted engines, put a couple of them on there. There we go. And of course make sure they fire in sequence so that we are spreading the thrust throughout the whole flight. Now, if we're going to collect extra science data, we can collect science from 30,000 meters. 30,000 meters is kind of the boundary between low and high altitude. So I can, if I can carry everything up to that altitude, we should be able to collect science for everything, right? Just so happens, by the way, that these batteries weigh the same as the barometer, or they mass the same as the barometer, which means by extension they weigh the same, but we care about mass. So we're going to collect 2 science data points with this and 1 science data point with the thermometer, and we're going to beat, 30,000 meters, not 30,000 kilometers. Okay, and let's see if this works. So we're going to fire these engines first, of course. They will accelerate us up very quickly. They will burn out, and then we'll switch over to the middle engine without ditching these things. So there. Now you see we're actually slowing down early. Oh, we're turning over just a bit. Hopefully that won't affect our final altitude. Okay, so 12,500 meters. Time to run a barometer scan. Flying low. The atmosphere pressure seems to be dropping as you gain altitude. Of course it is! That's science for you. Now we're going to continue and hopefully get above 30 kilometers. 9, bingo! Okay, collect thermometer data. Pretty darn chilly out there. Out there, the probe is hardly, the probe doesn't really care, right? It's out there. Log pressure data. The atmosphere is becoming incredibly thin. So yeah, once again, all that's left for me to do, now that we've transmitted this scientific data, I did transmit that, didn't I? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know why it never got transmitted. Uh-oh, we've been damaged due to lack of power. Well, hopefully I got all the science data that I needed. Anyway, we're falling back to the planet now, and of course I can just cut this out and go straight back to the Space Center through the power of editing. Okay, and with 20 more science, of course, we can pick one of the next nodes to unlock. And it's interesting here, they've got a few different things going on. Well, first of all, they've got these scaled down parts. This is the LVT-15, which is, if you want to get, liquid fueled rockets, this is the way to go. With basic flight control, you get military missions, and a lot of the military missions generally involve putting a warhead, or actually crashing a warhead into a specific region. Finally, in survivability, you have the KK-11 or KK-2 surplus cockpit. Kerbal kind long ago learned to put violence behind us and resolve our differences through vigorous games of badminton. Thus, such technology is a part of a past we would all rather forget. However, now that we've taken up sticking stuff to rockets, why don't we borrow one of these from the museum and see what happens? Warning, this cockpit is not pressurized. We're trying to figure out what that word actually means. Thus, flying at extreme altitudes may void the warranty on any contained Kerbals. And yeah, I literally did this. I built one of these things for an altitude record and I killed Jebediah by flying too high. But of course, that's not going to happen this time because I know it's going to happen. So yeah, the missions will change now that I have access to manned technology. Incidentally, over here, the administration building, none of the strategies work anymore. You got basically empty strategies at this time. Bling, we in the finance division believe that you absolutely have to dress for success. To that end, we wish to invest in gold lapel pins and cufflinks made of moonwalks for our entire staff. Ever tried consuming mystery goo? Well, we sure have. Come over by the science department for a swinging goo party and leave your inhibitions at the door. Yes. Frankly, I'm sick of wearing the suit all the time. Any chance we could implement casual Fridays so I can wander around in the buff once a week? After analyzing our various market trends, we think that our operation could use more synergy. We're not entirely sure what that means or what it'll do, but it's all the rage these days. It's definitely all the rage. I'm accepting that for sure. Okay, and what is all the rage in terms of science? Well, we can conduct a weather survey, which is collect stuff which we've already done. We can escape the atmosphere. We can test the parachute in flight. I'm not sure I'll be moving fast enough to try that. We could try it anyway. Yeah, let's do that. Accept the manned altitude record and accept the parachute, because we are going to want to test this. Okay, so out with the old and in with the new. Get rid of these batteries. Get rid of this barometer thingy. Get rid of that one. Strip this off. And what we're going to put in its place is the KK2, KK12, or KK11, or whatever. So this is actually a scaled down version. If you look at it, it's actually slightly smaller than a regular cockpit. So the regular Mark II or Mark 1 cockpit. There we go. Oh, yes, phone ringing there. Okay, yeah, just need a little bit more work on the staging there. Hopefully this will carry the Kerbals to new frontiers of awesome. Jebediah Kerman is the pilot. Main trick will be not flying too high, because too high makes him die. Okay, 12,500 meters, here we go. And I'm throttling up through force of habit. Now, once again, no control of this thing. It doesn't have any internal controls. Just trying to roll it does nothing. Jebediah Kerman is entirely along for the ride without any help, basically. Any way to control what's happening here. Okay, fire the next engine. We need to get above 12,500. That's where we can actually collect our low altitude data. Starting to roll over despite being completely symmetrically loaded. That's possibly, physics glitch caused by the system being imperfectly modeled. Who knows? I'm just wondering whether we'll actually hit our altitude in question because we're stuck. Come on, come on! Yes, just made it. No more. Crew report. You record the crew's assessment of the situation. Great, I'm going to keep that data. And test altitude. Oh dear. Okay, my altitude isn't high enough, and I'm not moving fast enough, so I will not be checking it. I will not be testing the parachute on this flight. I mean, obviously, I will be using the parachute because without it, I will be killing off Jebediah Kerman, and that would be bad karma, right? And touchdown! Yes, Jebediah Kerman survives. Look, you could probably EVA as well without a helmet. Can he collect science data? No, of course he can't. Let's get back inside just in case it doesn't correctly reward us with the rewards. Oh look, I actually get a mission summary for Untitled Spacecraft. That's excellent. I get a crew report worth 15 science. And next we recovered some parts. And we recovered Jebediah Kerman, who gained some experience. Okay, well I guess since we're doing this, we should probably unlock basic flight control with winglets and military missions and stuff. So what's in the next note? Oh, we have a mech Jeb installed in this. I'm not going to use it, but it's there. We have better prep cockpits, including the Mark 0 pressurized cockpit. Not rated for vacuum, so you can go to super high altitudes, but you can't go into vacuum. We get the mystery goo containment unit, and we get a better potato battery. The pot represents significant significant advances in electrical engineering that we have allowed us to both increase capacity and reduce the weight ratio of our previous models. After our experiments with historical replicas proved less than successful, we decided that perhaps designing our own cockpits using modern technology might be a better approach. We even painted the bottom black to make it look more high-tech. Warning, this cockpit is pressurized. We figured that bit out, and thus can be used at higher altitudes than the previous model, but exposing it to vacuum may have undesirable results. Yes, okay. Dumpster dive. Yeah, they've redone a lot of these things. What does it say? We've been experimenting with a new and exciting concept that our scientists like to refer to as throttle control, and the LVT-15 is the result. Don't mind the 30 on the side of it. That's just surplus panel from something else we've been working on. Any mildly explosive heat buildup we may observe in operation is clearly nothing to worry about. And we'll be sure to have that all worked out in future release. It's an alpha after all, so I can't research that one. I could test things, I could set a manned altitude record of 30,000 meters. Actually, I'm not sure I've done it. I'm not sure if I would do that. Here's a problem. None of my missions are doable, I don't think, given what I've got. Ooh, dear, that could be a problem. Set a manned altitude record of... I perhaps should have unlocked liquid fuel rockets so I could do these things, right? Escape the atmosphere might actually be better. Let's do that. Accept that contract. That will at least get that contract out of the way. Okay, so here goes nothing. I think I kind of stupidly took myself in a corner because the only way to advance is to get more science, and the only science available is outside the atmosphere. The new instrument which I unlocked, the gravioli detector, requires me to fly it into space. And it's actually too heavy to fly into space unless I have the liquid fuel system, which I haven't unlocked. So instead, I'm using the fins to keep this thing flying straight. I'm going to pause and start firing now. So what I was doing there for the pause was because I was going so fast that the deceleration was very, very high. So I waited for my deceleration due to wind resistance to drop to about 1 G before I fired up the main engine again. And that actually helps just a little, because if you accelerate, if you try to go much higher than terminal velocity, then you will be wasting fuel. So I just need to get above 70 kilometers, and this may not be the best design, but it's the best I can come up with. We can fit a single scientific instrument on it. There it is, the temperature, the thermometer. We need to carry it outside the atmosphere and collect just enough science to make sure that we can continue this quest to do science things or whatever. Okay, 23 kilometers, 24. We're hoping to get about 900 meters per second on this. Oh, yes, okay, not quite. We definitely, I think we might just be able to get outside the atmosphere. Might just be able to get outside the atmosphere. We're going to coast all the way to altitude. If you don't know, the rule of thumb for how high you will go in the Kerbin's gravity field, if you start going up at, say, a velocity of 700 meters per second, right? You divide that by 10, right, which gives you 70. So that's 70 seconds to slow down to 0. So 70 times 700 is about 49,000. And then you divide that number by 2, which means about 24,500. So you're going to go about 25 kilometers. And successfully, we have put this thing just above the atmosphere into low space. We've logged the temperature, we've collected the data, and now we're going to fall back. And probably deadly re-entry will destroy this spacecraft. But you do not need to bear witness to this, thanks to the power of editing. And indeed, here we go back at the Space Center. We have 11 sites, so I guess I'm going to need to fly my pressure barometer up there. Oh look, and we have this small warhead to old airfield mission here. So this is a military mission, which I probably can't fly since I don't have liquid fueled rockets. Shortly after the founding of our space program, the public outcry over what we would do if we were suddenly invaded by big beige men Reached a fever pitch, our society became plagued by protests, staff shortages, mass suicides, and the levelling of almost all above-ground structures on the planet, in the hope that we might not be noticed by the monsters that many feared lay in wait beyond our atmosphere. In response, the KFC, commanded by Colonel Sanders obviously, was established, an elite fighting force whose mission was to anticipate the external threats we may face in our exploration of the cosmos, prepare for them, and then send them home crying to their tall, skinny, freakishly pale mummies. Who are we fighting against? No ideas, but as soon as we figure that out, we'll be ready. And indeed, if this whole career mode sounds interesting, you should check it out. It's better than Starting Man. It's by Flower Child and, of course, many others now. It's available on the forums. Check it out. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe. Do a bit of a live challenge. Now, what the challenge is something I just can't came up with. The idea is to fly the shortest space mission possible. Now, by shortest, I mean the least amount of time from launch to landing on the mission clock. And by space mission, I mean that you have to actually go to space. So you have to get to space and then get back to Kerbin as quickly as possible. And so here is a very simple example of what I'm talking about. So we're using a rocket to more or less fly straight up, because of course that is the fastest way to space. And once we get there, we can turn around and come back. So there we got the mission to about 70-something kilometers. There we go. And going straight up, letting gravity slow us down. But you know what? We can probably make sure that we're ready to come back by pointing the rocket downwards. Just checking on the map to make sure I beat 70 kilometers. Point everything straight down. 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70 kilometers. We are in space. So it's time for us to head back as quickly as possible to our launch site, and therefore clock in and get home and call it the shortest workday ever. Not that Bill is a work-shy astronaut or anything, but it's just because he wants to get a particular record. Now obviously in the real world we only go up and we let the maximum speed you want, coming down as quickly as possible. I wonder actually whether this design will burn out all its fuel before it hits the either way, we do have a parachute which should let us get out of this thing relatively smooth. You never know, it could be kind of dramatic. Okay, 2 kilometers per second, more or less, straight down. You can pretty much rely on the atmosphere to slow us here. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. Ditch the capsule. Look at that. Brilliant. It is kind of awesome to behold this kind of thing. Now, of course, when the parachute opens below 500 meters, we will then float slowly to the surface. So another part of optimizing this is that we want to open our parachute at the last minute, which means there's a great potential for smashing up the ground at ridiculous speeds. We like that kind of thing on Turbo Challenge and Cable. 1300, 1200, 1100. This is where having Turbo Engineer could prove useful. It means that you'd be able to bang. Hey, brilliant. Okay, and so that's like just under 358. 358. Now, can we go faster than that? Well, of course, that's what the challenge is. Okay, so how do we optimize this design? Obvious way is to start with bigger boosters so we accelerate faster. It's always a good way. Getting up there is important. Getting up there quickly is especially important. Let's actually make 6 of these just for good measure. Oh, or 8 even, yeah, 8, that's always better. Now, we have
this rocket here, what I could do probably is throw a bunch of this away, and we could probably get rid of those. What we can do is get rid of the separator there, at least move the separator elsewhere, and instead of having rockets on the, instead of turning ourselves around, we can have rockets that add the deceleration built in. There are those. Oh, why don't one of those fit in? 6? Does 6 fit? Yeah, 6 fit. I'm not sure why does it fit 8. Yeah, 8 is. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so we can ditch that. We can put a separator on there, except for this whole thing. Separator on there. Bingo. Try to fit that in somewhere. Oh. This is the fun thing of doing live telling you. Okay, let's rotate it so I can actually see where my attachment unit is. It's in there somewhere. Why does it? Ah, there it is. Nope, come on, there. Such trouble sometimes. Okay. So now, we shouldn't need to turn this thing around. Okay, so what do we have? We have the main engine. We have these things here, and we have a separator, and we have engines. These engines are running here. We probably don't want to fire them right away, and then we can come over. Okay, let's try that. A little bit of a remote here, just to pop it on, and we want to get under 358. It is the golden standard. Okay, so we are ready to go. Fire up the stabilizers, fire up the engine, and off we go. So I'm going to double up the speed on this. We have the speed, the power of all those heavy solid rocket boosters there. And just watching the numbers of the solid fuel go down. I'm going to slow down time just before we ditch these things because it should make things. Ah, there we go. It took too long to dump these things. Another important thing to realize is we probably should make sure we're going over land. I guess you could optimize this by picking a slightly higher piece of land. Really, really smart. Okay, and that's that engine ditched. Oh, let's ditch that there. How high are we going to go? We're going to go 103 kilometers. Okay, brilliant. We're just going to turn this sideways. Turn it. That. Wait a second. Yeah, that way. We should probably point the rocket that way. Fire the engines. Oh, no, don't. Oh. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, well, I'll send that one back to the drawing board. You know, I think actually the problem is that my main engines should all be around that, so that when I start firing those, I don't have to worry about clearing the wreckage. Let's go back and let's just completely abandon this concept. We've already had enough comedy out of this. Okay, throw that away. And the only engines that we have that will be anywhere near good enough for this are perhaps these big external